Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and I am here to talk about New Jersey's own Vito Mielnicki Jr., who has recently moved up to 160 in his last fight at Madison Square Garden against Irish's own Connor Coyle. Connor Coyle, this fight was on paper to be Vito's toughest fight, and man, boy, did it ever lived up to that, because Connor Coyle came into the fight 21-0, undefeated, 1 draw, 9 KOs. He has a really good extensive amateur background, over 225 amateur fights. He's actually ranked number 3 in the WBA. So this is the type of caliber opponent that Vito was fighting. Vito was fighting no slouch. He was not now Connor Coyle is not a fighter that's a big name in boxing, like elite-wise and stuff, but he's a ranked fighter. He's a top fighter, top 10. Like I said, he's ranked number 3 in the WBA. So Vito fought a pretty good fighter, if you ask me. And when the bell rung, the fight, a lot of things showed. Connor Coyle presented a really stiff challenge for Vito. Now, in the first 4 rounds, Vito controlled the fight with his jab, his counter punching. First 4 rounds was all Vito until the 5th round came, and so on and so forth, where Connor Coyle was starting to land his shots, started to have more success. Hands are being let go more, and it just became a solid scrap. Both guys going back and forth, punches and bunches. It became fight of the night, in my opinion. I think it was the best fight of the night. It was not a fight of the year candidate or anything like that, but it was a really good fight. Vito coming up to 160, he showed the power was there. The counter right hand, the jab, the 1-2s, and Vito looked strong, very strong. But he gassed a little bit, which is what made the fight interesting, because that's when Connor Coyle stepped on the gas and made things really competitive and a hard night for Vito. Now, because I was like, whoa, Vito has this fight in the bag. He has this in control. We're in the 4th round. Yes, it's a bit early. Still early, but in the 10th round. Because I was like, Connor Coyle, I thought Connor Coyle was better than this. And then eventually Connor Coyle showed me and showed us why he is who he is, why he's undefeated, why he's ranked number 3 in the WBA. He gave Vito the work in the middle rounds, and both guys busted up. Connor Coyle bleeding from his eyelid. I want to believe it from his left eye. That was caused by a punch. And both guys, man, they just went tooth and nail, and it turned out to be a pretty close fight, from Vito dominating early to becoming a fight that was up for grabs. Like, whoever won this last round or the last couple rounds had a chance to win the fight. And the fight was scored a draw. Now, in the, I say, in this 8th round, I was like, this fight looks like a draw to me, man, because these two guys are going at it. Every round looks even. And the fight was scored a draw. The judges gave it a draw. Now, I'm not going to complain about the draw. It is what it is. But if you want to give it to a winner, you got to give it to Vito, because Vito, he won the first 4 rounds, no problem. A lot of the rounds after that was a toss-up. I think Vito landed the more telling shots. Vito was the aggressor. Now, Nothing to take away from Connor Coyle, man. Connor Coyle fought a hell of a fight. He used his jab, he counter punch as well. Um, and a lot of the rounds too looked pretty close. It was a close fight. So like I said, the draw is fine. Go with the draw. Maybe they should run it back. But not a bad showing to go up to 160 and give a hell of a fight to a number 3 ranked fighter in the WBA. And Vito is actually ranked number 10 in the WBO. So these are 2 top ranked fighters at 160 that went in there. Well, yeah, it was a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to what's next. Hopefully these 2 guys can rematch each other, because I think that's what's needed here in this fight. So yeah, but Vito Mielnicki Jr., man, is really developed. He's really come a long way after that first loss he suffered. He's turned out to be a much better fighter. He's more sharp, more patient, more polished, and Vito is a pretty good fighter, man. Pretty solid. He's a nice kid. I met him once in Brooklyn when I went to the Deontay Wilder Helenius card in 2022 in Brooklyn, New York, Barclays, and he fought on the undercard. And I met him up in the concession stands, like in that aisleway where you walk. And I took a picture with him, and it was right after his fight, and he's holding the WBA strap. That was when he was still at 154. And pretty cool dude, man. He allowed me to take a picture with him, and he was humble as hell. And ever since then, I became a much bigger fan of him. So yeah, Vito Mielnicki Jr., man, keep doing your thing. Connor Coyle, hell of a fighter. Hope these 2 guys run it back. It was a hell of a fight in my opinion. Yeah, Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Austin Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is always a pleasure to talk to you about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.